This is on #1 volume, but it sounds so loud. So hopefully it's not too loud. I had it on a different one, and it was miracles that will happen if you listen to this tune. And it was pretty tune. And so I had it on, and so I thought, oh, I'll listen to it. Everybody can get a miracle. So I turned it down to 1, and it was still so loud. And I put this one on, and I was like, man, this still sounds loud at 1. So I don't know. I know the phone picks at, like, there's so many whack shit, I think, going on with AI and technology and us and everything as all this stuff is happening. And was I think yesterday I only was on TikTok barely at all. I was just busy. It just seemed like there was just constantly, there was just a lot to clean up. After somebody leaves, you gotta wash that. There's just, I don't know, it seemed like a lot to do. And then all the stuff we got from the thrift store and stuff. So I was just busy. And I cleaned out my whole entire closet, my whole entire dresser. And I didn't even get that much stuff. But I had just, for the past, I only got a couple things. But when I was, just lately, when I would get my stuff out, I was like, oh my gosh, my drawers are too full. And, I lost one of my favorite tank tops. I can't find it anywhere. And then since I'm going, and I had gotten the kids all that stuff, I was like, oh, perfect timing. I'll just clean out all my stuff and take it to them so that they can go through it and see if there's anything they want. That's what we've just become accustomed to as a girl family, just gathering up the stuff we don't want anymore and giving it to everybody else so everybody else can go through it. And it's kind of fun. So, anyways, the thing, there's a couple things, and it was this morning when I went on a look, I only saw a couple of TikToks, and yesterday I only saw, I don't know, 20 or 30 maybe. I don't know, definitely not hundreds. And today too, just a few. And I'm sorry, like, oh my God, I can't even watch anymore. My brain already feels full. Just in my comments alone, because I don't think I recorded yesterday. I don't remember. I'm so off on time. I mean, I swear, the more you release from this 3D that holds you, the more things just happen. They don't all like go together the way that we try and force them together. It's weird. It's just like things are happening, and it's us who put it together. And it's like by I don't know. It's like, it's not like forced, but it's, I don't know, it's unnecessary, kind of. So, anyways, the thing that was really getting me, I mean, the people on TikTok are freaking out because it's moving fast through Congress that they're going to ban TikTok. But one of the things yesterday, this one Congress douchebag was saying, I sit here and think, like, they've all got these backroom meetings right now, and they're all under stress, and it's a real tense time back in these meetings. They're like, yeah, well, you want them to find out about those kids last year. You better get up there, and you better say what we tell you to say. That's how they get these people to do shit, get stuff on them. It's the people you're hiding, the people you're covering, they're doing way worse. You should just come out and say the bad thing that you've done and admit it to the people, in order to take down the rest. There's got to be some people who are willing to face their own consequences. This is what blows my mind, too. So, she's in here. She's like, I can see it'd be very boring to be hanging out with me all the time. Because I'm very at peace and in solitude. I can sit here quiet for hours just listening to, I don't need entertainment. I don't need any of those kinds of things. I've got a lot going on in there. It's crazy because so many people, they get so put off because there's too much going on in there. They just want to shut it down, silence the mind and stuff like that. And once you clean up the dirt and you get out the cobwebs and stuff, it's a beautiful place to be. It's fun. It's a lovely place. And so, but you got to clean up the mess, and then, then you can go into it peacefully. Once you get out all the garbage, your mind is a beautiful place. It has got a lot going on in there, a lot of communication. So, the whole thing is you just got to clean up the mess. And so, and since I can sit here, I mean, I can sit here all day long with the river running on the TV, and I can sit on the couch and stare at the fire and just be in my mind space for fucking hours and hours. If nobody was talking to me, Stella's the one who would always pull me into, hey, I got some needs here. Remember, I'm over here, and pull me back into that reality where, I have commitments, kind of. It's kind of like, I can leave this one by myself and go out of it in my mind. And when you're out of it in your mind, people don't get it. You're out of it. You're not in it. And you have to pull your mind back in to go back into it. It's just like you got to think about your consciousness. It is invisible. And this is what's so sad too, is oh man, there's a girl who I follow on TikTok, and she's just really distraught right now. And this is going on with a lot of people, so I'm not saying she's the only one with this story, and hers is more sad than anybody else's. But, you're just seeing her emotions raw. She's putting them out there. And she's been pregnant this whole time. She's the one who was, big on the zeolite when I tried it. It was her who was talking about it and stuff with her kids, and that they had taken it. And one was nonverbal and started talking, and, she's putting all her stuff out there. And I guess she used to be an addict, and when she very first started, that was what she would talk about. And then so she had a huge following from that. And then when she started talking about natural stuff and health stuff and stuff like that, they all turned against her. How dare you? We've built you up, and now you are not just talking about what we want you to talk about. So she had some drama with that whole thing, but she continued she tried to be, more, she was really trying. And she's very young, and I don't know why she reminds me of my second daughter. They're just something, one of them's blonde and one's black hair, but there's just something about their faces, their attitude, that just remind me of each other. So I feel pulled towards this girl. And so, and she just had a baby, and, it was this whole long thing through her pregnancy, and, all the steps that she was going through. And she's a single mom with 3 little girls now. And then 2 weeks, or just 2 weeks ago or something, the dad of all the girls who, even though they were divorced, apparently they were very much together with the kids raising, and he passed. And she's devastated. She didn't even know, like, that was her best friend, that was her support, that was her everything that she felt she needed. It was just ripped out from under her. All I can say is, they're still there. It's just that's so sad, because people think they're not there anymore because they can't see them. But they're still there. His energy is very, would be very attached to her. The reason he's passing is to help her from the other side. And, and I can't say, like if you think about maybe how when we're out there, because everything we're here doing is written, it's like contracted. You're playing that part. So in that, oh, my joints are fucking killing me. God, that just hurt so bad. So say we're up there and we're just energy, and we're just, but I just saw this thing with all these NDEs, and there's a lot of it where you're just not just energy. I think that's when you just even go to another part. Like there's the heavenly realms, the realms where everything is beautiful. And, we're leaving this realm. Like I said, you just leave realms. And so that heavenly realm is a place where a lot of people seem to go. But it's very vast. It's not just like, heaven, and you have to go sit with God and sing at him all the time. Because everything is just realities. It's where you focus. In anything that's in your memory bank, you can create. So even if I was gone and I wanted to go, even if I left this reality and I was like, well, I want to go to the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to go to the Eiffel Tower. It's like I could go back to the Eiffel Tower in any time and space that it was there to go in and see it. I would just see myself at the Eiffel Tower. And, you know, I think you could probably see yourself at a certain time and go, and you would be there. See, but I think, you know, we're time traveling all the time. I think people who are living in the past all the time are time traveling. They're not in the present time. They're stuck back in time where something else was going on in their mind. So that, to me, you're stuck in time. And so when you are out of body and you are in the heavens, then you can go anywhere you want. But in a lot of these NDEs, where there's always like these huge groups and parties, it's like a whole fucking city, a whole world that we can go and live in. And so it could be not that when we're just in our voice, you know, that we're out there creating, but we actually are in this space when we create, you know, ideas for lives, you know, like it's kind of like, this is how I kind of see it, is like you, if you stay in your light body, I think probably most of us do, you know, I think most of us, even though people think they don't want to incarnate, I think most people want to be in a body of some sort. And your light body is like you shining, but like I said, you take on a form and you will look like how you look to people who knew you. That's how they'll see you. It won't just be like they'll see your light, but they'll recognize your light as how they knew you in this different thing. So you could be going around there and know somebody from one life who knew you as one way and know you from another life and knows you from another one. Just like you would see people and you would know. And I don't even think that you have to have all the memories of all the lives. I think you just, it's like it's imprinted in you. You just know it all. Like you see them and you just know it all. And you know what I mean? But there's definitely big groups that, you know, that you make your plan over what you want to go. And this is where I think like your guidance and stuff, like the higher minds come in. And so I don't know if we actually sit down at a table and talk about like, you know, the things that we want to learn and how we want to develop as a soul. And then it's, you know, the design comes up with things that we could go into to work on or something. Like, I don't know if it is, like I've heard those kinds of things. And so then if you go in and you determine, you know, how you want to learn and you get together with all your people and you guys write the story, it's the whole story. See, I don't know if in the writing, if there's a whole lot of different ones, a whole lot of different versions, and then you choose, like, if that's the version we're going to go through. Or if you just are like, well, that's the version, this is what's going to happen, we're going to make it happen this way, you know. So I don't know, like it seems like anything's possible, but you are contracted into this one. You have a part to play, you have to complete the part, and then after you complete your part, then you leave the game, you leave the scene, you're off the stage, you leave this reality. And so, and I feel like I just look really strange. Oh yeah, my eyebrows too dark and I can't get my eyelash. I've had to order real mascara at this point. I can't keep getting that other one to work right. So anyways, so when you have your part that you're playing here, you know, like I'm contracted with Stella, you know. And so even if I'm sitting on the couch and I'm going and I've got nothing to do here and I'm going in somewhere else, then I still have to come back here. It's not like I can just leave and leave my body, and my body will just go and I'll be like, oh, this place is better, I'm going to go over here. It's not like you can do that. And besides, it's not like I'm going into other realities like I am in this one. It's more like going into other spaces. And a lot of different things can happen, because it can be like a dream, it can be like a meeting, it can be like just sitting there it's like all different. It's just like you just go into a different space. And I've said so many times, when I come back, it's like I have to totally reorient myself. Like I forget in it. And I'm so used to doing it now. It's just kind of like I just slip into it. And then it's real easy. I even started thinking, I wonder if that is why they all of a sudden brought somebody here, is because I was slipping away too much. They're like, we need to ground her. Yeah, she's ready. Let's get her. We need to get her grounded. We need to get her focusing on this world some more. Because, and it doesn't, there's so many of these things. Like, I see these people so traumatized, and this stuff doesn't bother me that they're so traumatized about. And I'll sit there and just laugh along. Like this one guy, he was doing this video. It was just hilarious. I mean, it's so absurd. And he's really upset. And he says things that, oh, it was the guy who always says, well, hello, America. Guess what? And he always goes through, he always looks like he's really happy, and just says the most craziest stuff that's going on. But so he did a video of all these different explosions and all the stuff that's going up in the sky. So he's saying it. He couldn't even finish them all in 3 minutes. There were so many. And it was just absolutely insane. And how many chemicals and stuff he was saying. I was just cracking up. I was like, oh my God, I know that people are really, really upset, really, really scared. But it was just hilarious. But I'm like, I'm on another level. Like, I know that we're not going to even if we're going to die in this thing, that we're not really going to, that it's all a facade. And so, I can't feed into that facade because it feeds into fear, and it makes you feel anxious and stuff. So I'm not going to feed into that. And one thing that I've noticed is like that so many of the people, like I've talked about this before, but so many of the people who are so fearful of government and the medical, the mandates and shit like that, that they're so hyper focused on what they're scared of, that they cannot look at anything else. And this is what drives me crazy. So in my videos where I'm sitting here saying about the future city and the smart city. So the future, I think it's been called the future city and the freedom city. So, but if it's just called the freedom city, so it's the freedom city. But the freedom city is going to be all free. I mean, that has been his platform. This is so mental. I cannot believe some of these people. It's like they will sit and argue with you. And it's like, have a real fucking, know what the fuck you're arguing about, please. Don't come in and fucking just sit here and tell me like, oh, you need to do more research. Motherfucker, I've been researching this longer than you fucking have. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, go do some more research. You don't know what you're talking about. I had like 3 of these people this morning, probably more. And I was like, okay, so TikTok's going, they've got the bots out on steroids, they're coming in. I mean, these people like following 4,000 people, 34 followers and 0 likes. It's like, okay, you're just out here looking for trouble and trying to cause trouble, trying to cause, arguments, trying to get me banned or something. I just block them. I'm not going to go in and, because so many people will go and do those arguments back, like they will respond in a message, and then they'll get in trouble for bullying. And so it's like, no, don't play these people's games. They put these bots out here to harass us, and then these people go in and fight back, and then you lose your account. They're allowed to do whatever they want. We're not. We're the censored group. So they've got their little super soldiers on social media too, out there just to take us down in whatever way that they can. And there's just so many of us. And TikTok turned into such a huge haven for the awakening, apparently. I'm on here and I'm on TikTok. I only go on TikTok just to kind of see what's happening in the world. So a lot of it, I'm kind of just going fast because it's so repetitive. It's like someone starts talking, it's like the same story over and over. So I'm going through it, and it's like you have to go through so many to find a freaking anything about the weather. All I've seen is like a really horrible stuff about the California mountains still. It's really horrible. Now I think some of these people now have been snowed into their homes for going on 2 weeks or something. I mean, there's definitely going to be some dead people in their homes when this thaws, but same thing in Buffalo. And they didn't ever, report that to us because they don't want us to know. I just saw a news report that the woman who was the newscaster, she was outraged. And you could tell is because she was anorexic when she was younger. You could tell by how she was talking. Or maybe her kid or her sister. She definitely had a personal relationship with anorexia. And this story really bothered her. And so apparently there's a doctor in Colorado who's just handing out euthanasia pills all over the place because it's allowed. Now, if you have anorexia. So you have an eating disorder, well, good luck to you. You may as well just do yourself in. You got a life of turmoil, I guess, apparently. And the woman, she was just like, oh my God, this is a temporary problem. This isn't, and so she has this doctor on there talking about it. And it's like, this isn't something that lasts. This is something you go through that you can heal from. And it's not a permanent thing. It's very temporary. And he's like, yeah, but they're trying to turn things into things that, it's all this euthanasia thing that they're, I guess, underneath our noses are making it legal everywhere. Because remember, the doctors are controlled opposition. They are out there for the other companies. They are not there for us. And they're there for the people who pay them. Insurance companies, pharmaceutical, that's how they make their money. And they make kickbacks and all that stuff, and so they're always pushing, take this one, take this one, take this one, because that's how they get their money. $10 for the copay for your appointment isn't shit, and all of the little $20 payments your insurance company pays doesn't pay all their staff and all of their insurances and all that. So who steps in? But see how it's all a scam. It's like, we're going to push you in a corner, just like what they did with the farmers. We're going to make sure we have control over you guys. So they did that with the farmers and agriculture, and they did it with medicine. So it's all about this control over us. And so they've got now, this one doctor who's just been, apparently just killing a lot of kids, I guess. But, the problem with that, I do. These people want to think like, that's not going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen. There's nothing that's not. The only thing that I have seen about all of this is it's just going slower than I thought it would. But everything's exactly happening the way. I mean, it's not to each little detail. Like, I didn't know it was going to be train crashes, but I knew, I knew the overall thing that was going to be happening. And so, it's, and I knew it was going to be to bring certain people, like these train companies, this one that they've got in, that one's obviously got a lot of illegal, the corruption that's going to come out from like city planners and Senate, all of the people that sit at that back room table talking about, when you better get out there, you better do this, the evil back room meetings. This is bringing those people to front and center for us. And so, that's all the things that they want to do to us. They were already, the other side was prepared, and they did certain things before certain things happened. That's what Trump was kind of in there for those couple of years. He was writing out things, getting parameter, getting structure. So whatever they did, that there was something that was going to happen. Because they had that looking glass thing, they could see. They knew, they had the agendas. They knew where things were headed. They knew where to come in and which doors and stuff. I mean, there's actors out there playing part. I mean, they've got all sorts of stuff going on. This is a very elaborate thing happening. But people who are living in fear, they're not seeing the whole picture. They're only seeing what they're scared of. So they're just focused on that. And they're not seeing anything more. Because fear will do that to you. And then you have these people who are living in fear coming in and arguing with me. It's like, dude, I'm not living like you. I got over this shit. Like, no. But apparently Washington State is a big leader now. They're doing this. They're going to go with the passing all this euthanasia stuff here. So they can kill a lot of, I mean, we got a lot of depressed people here. A lot of kids with anxiety. I'm sure a lot of eating disorders, so we got to do some weeding out apparently here in Washington State. So that is passing here in Oregon. You know, it's funny how it's just these very Democrat progressive states are all about getting rid of people. Interesting, huh? So yeah, these people freaking out about TikTok. And so that one keeps showing this clip, this fucking senator douche, whatever the hell is Yahoo is, and he is talking about, like, you know, we got a big problem. We got people on TikTok probably 90 minutes a day. 90 minutes a day. Dude, fucking I know people who are on there 6, 8 hours a day. What the fuck you got? 90 minutes. You're concerned about 90 minutes? Bet your ass there's people on there, especially right now when there's nobody working. There is people on there from the time I see it. Oh my God, no fucking. It is funny. Yeah. And you know what's interesting too? As I've noticed a little thing or two, because you know, my algorithm's very different. Anybody sitting in a room with me, they'll notice that. They'll pick up real quick. I'm like, what are you listening to over there? Like, that's a little different. Sounds a little more serious than what I'm watching over here. So yeah, that was a little more serious. And I've heard a lot of volumes go down, and you know, so what's that about? So, you know, even though you know, we have separate algorithms, there's still this stuff is spreading. And so even if theirs is coming up with certain things, you know, makeup, dance, whatever, you know, that stuff's out there. And then they see and they hear. And then, you know, it's opening people's awareness, I would say. Like, oh, it's not just this person talking about this. Like, there's a lot of people talking about this. I thought it was just this one person. Go listen to their algorithm. Go listen to their algorithm. You think it's just them. Yeah. If somebody thinks you're just crazy, just go sit and listen to your TikTok next to them, or your YouTube, or whatever your algorithm is on. And yeah, that'll get them a little bit like, wait a minute, there's a lot of people saying this shit? Yeah, there is. Lots. And so that's what the talk doesn't like. And so they want to take it down. And their big motivation is like, yeah, well, all of the big networks, they'd like somebody to watch them 90 minutes a day. Are you fucking kidding? They don't even hide the way they want to control us, you know. Oh, and by the way, CNN is now reporting that we have a mothership. They need us to get off the TikTok and get on the CNN. Like, they're trying to scare us. Like, what the hell are we doing? You don't spend your time on TikTok. You got down, get on your TV, onto your programming. We have got fear tactics, and you're not paying attention. You better get your ass on that fucking TV. I'm like, okay. Right, so they're going to force it. They're going to take us off the talk, and they think that we're going to just all go on to CNN and sit and be scared all day. No, that's not going to happen. I guarantee it. There's way too many other platforms. Yeah, there's going to be some really upset people because they've built, you know, I mean, most of the people who are on there, it is, it's a part of their day, you know. They do that, and you gotta remember that that is a part of addiction too. So it's a habitual thing. Try and do something. Like, anytime I run out of weed, I'll tell you, like, it's the habit. It's the sitting and relaxing and just taking that deep breath and just sitting there and just relaxing. It becomes habitual. Like, you make a habit, and so then when you stop, it isn't the thing you're addicted to, it's the habit. It's you know, it's breaking a habit. It's very difficult. It takes like 30 days of constant restructuring, you know, of remembering. Just move your trash can and you'll see what a habit is. Like, how many times you'll go back to the old place. And it's very hard to break a habit. And so that is, you know, a lot of addiction is created from a habit. And then they tell themselves, well, I'm addicted. No, it's way too hard. No, you've created a habit for yourself, and you can't break a habit because it takes focus. It takes a restructuring of how you've been doing something and catching yourself. And so, you know, yourself, your body, your mind, whatever it is, has that thing that wants to just keep doing because you've done it. And it's nice, you know, that, well, habit. And so, you know, it wants to keep doing it. So we'll keep, you know, it's time to do that. It's time to do that. It's time to do that. Go get that. Come on. It's time. It's time. It's time. So you'll be sitting there like, oh, I'm trying to break this habit. Stop, stop, you know? And so, but, you know, that habit and weak minds where you just think and then you know, there's drugs that can automatically just make your body physiologically dependent, but that isn't like weed isn't like that. There's a lot of things. It's the habit. You know, just start noticing that. I don't know. I learned about that habit. Maybe it was back because I lived with the addicts my whole entire life until 6 years ago. You know, when was it? Yeah, I lived with the addicts my whole life until I was literally, I swear to God, until I just moved here when I started just living by myself. Anytime that you're living with anybody who's really, because most things are some sort of addiction. I mean, people don't even realize, like food, drama, you know, how you use your energy. You know, people just do it in a lot of dysfunctional ways, but they definitely, there's addictions in all different areas. Addiction isn't just alcohol and drugs. Addiction is anything that isn't doing well for you, but you keep doing it. You know, drama is a big one. It's so crazy too, because nobody wants to think they're addicted to drama, but you are. I mean, you become dependent on drama, you know. A good little drama will draw your attention away from a lot of stuff. And people create dramas without even realizing it, especially people who come from traumatic childhoods, which now I've seen, like, I think most people have come from a traumatic childhood, and apparently some people are just now figuring it out. Like, and they think, I think a lot of people think, oh, it was just me. No, it's part of it's a part of the game. It's part of, you come into this game with obstacles. You come in to get over things. You come in with this certain group of people because you guys have a plan over what you're learning and teaching each other. And it's got to go a certain way. And just like with these TikTok people who are all panicking and freaking the fuck out, it's like, you know, when you heal, you learn. Like, I'm not going to sit here and freak out over stuff I don't have any control over. Like, even when last night they had the helicopters going, I think they brought in two. Yeah, because I went outside, it was so loud, and I could hear two flying over us. And then you couldn't see anything, of course, because the trees, but they were low. I could hear them, and I kept trying to see, but it was raining, and I couldn't go out and went just stand in the rain in one little open place trying to see, because you could tell what it was. And then they just kept going and going. And I was like, okay, so, you know, because at first it's like, okay, shit about to go. And then you're sitting there and they just keep going and going. And it's like, I swear to God, they do this to intimidate us, to create fear. Fucking out here where I'm at, half these guys are probably PTSD, old fucking, have been in some war somewhere or another. And then you have all these people who are on depression meds, anxiety meds, and then you're going and flying over the neighborhood like that while we're in this fucking, who knows what CNN and MSNBC and shit are saying about the war. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I think a lot of it is to create tension and drama. And, you know, like I've talked about before, they go and they see how many people run down to the weed store then, how many people run down to the liquor store then, how many domestic violence breaks out. They monitor all of that shit. And if they like that, how that worked, they'll do it again. Be like, well, that was a pretty good outcome. I'll see what happens next week. Let's do that again. You know, and that's what they do. Like, it is just like in that movie, Free Guy, where, you know, once they woke up, they were like, oh my God, they're just sitting there doing that to us all the time for their own entertainment, just causing our lives to be chaotic and hard for their entertainment. And that is totally the truth. And so, you know, that's one thing that people have to wake up to. But, you know, I just find it irritating. And then it's like, okay, I'm so tired, I'm going to go to sleep. But, you know, maybe this night will be the night, because they seem to really want to strike in the middle of the night when it's dark to make us even more off. And, you know, I don't think there's anybody who's had one of those prophetic dreams, that it wasn't something about it being something towards night or something. It either happens in the night, in the lights, or the water thing. I don't know. We'll just see. But one thing is like there's so many of these government group people. Because you have like the patriots who are just, you know, whatever Donald says. You know, Donald is our master. You know, where's our master now? Kind of, you know, a lot of that attitude. Like, how will we do this? You have the people who are like, I'm not doing a thing. Jesus has come to save me. You guys just stay here and deal with it. I'm going. Jesus is coming. He's taking me. You got that group. You got the group that is, you know, ready, guns drawn. They're ready to go. Let's take these motherfuckers on. You got the groups that are, come on, everybody, let's run and hide together. Let's just go out and start building together. You know, that's more my group. Like, let's just, but I know that this isn't, I know it's all about timing. This is, you know, it's all about timing. And it's not our time to do that yet. Just like there's people who are out there who are trying that are getting just demolished. And so losing everything. Like, it's sad. I've seen some of these homesteaders and these things that are going on. They're losing all their stuff that they had just went out there and started trying. And so everything's about timing, but everybody's journey is their journey to teach them. So, you know, their journey is their journey. They didn't have to go to a hospital and get a brain injury and have their whole family turn against them, you know, so everybody gets their own thing. So, and everybody's is different times because we all have different roles and parts and all different things happening, and it's all by design. Nothing is by accident. So many people think like that they can, I don't know, you can run from death if you see it coming. If it's coming for you, it's coming for you. You're the one who set it up. You made the date. Like, he's not coming. He's coming to remind you, hey, you got other things to do. Let's go. You know, don't run from something that isn't scary. And so, but there's going to be things that are going to be scary. Like, I think there's going to be stuff that's going to be real scary to people who don't know. Like, if things start falling out of the sky and they all think it's devils coming to get them, you know, I don't know. I think it's going to be, you know, there's going to be a thing. There's going to be a mass amount of people are going to go at once. So I think, and I don't know if it's, I think it's that part's coming soon. I think there's going to be a huge thing that's going to happen, and it's going to turn everything the other direction, but it's going to be a massive amount of people are going to go at once. Just like in Turkey. And Turkey's still having more earthquakes too. It's like, fuck, man. I don't know. It's like, it's energetically, people have to make the moves towards one another, towards unity, towards coming together. And, you know, it's us energetically, but, you know, it's all going to happen the way it's going to happen. You know, I could sit here and say 50 times a day, all day long, do this, do that. I can't change what's going to happen because it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. But I was always going to say those things, and whoever it affected was always going to be affected by them. And so those roles are always being played. But that's not my motivation, is to be in that kind of panicky, oh, do this, blah, you know. There's a lot of those ones out there that are playing that part. My part is, you know, to just the awareness, the awakening, to understand you're eternal, to understand you're here playing a part. Like, I see my stuff is so much more about your soul and about finding peace in life and finding purpose and understanding. You know, it's this changing of understanding of what life is about, because it brings you into a pure existence of love, of acceptance, of, you know, like I can see all those explosions. Like, before I had done my healing, I would have been panicking. I would have probably had my family gathered up and, you know, we got to get to the garage. We got to save ourselves, get out of this place before it all goes down, you know. Like, I mean, I don't know what I would have done or said. I mean, I was just as panicky as everybody else at some point, but now I can see it so much different. And I know I didn't go crazy. I just know that when you're healing, you just get a lot of clarity in life. And so it changes your attitude. And, you know, all of this stuff is about raising the bar for yourself, raising your vibration. And that's the thing, is when the people leave and go to their light body, their vibration is higher than yours. So you can't see them, but they're still right there with you. They're with you, and they're there trying to assist you from the other side. And like I said, I don't know if it was, you know, you weren't doing the things, or it was always going to be that way. I don't know how it goes down, why, you know, why we would choose that to be the way it would go, but it is. And you do have people who are on the other side, and like I said, it seems like it's because it's easier to get things into your head, to get you to understand things, to help you grow. Like this is gonna push this girl into really seeing her own strength, her everything. I mean, she's gone through so much. Her addiction, getting sober, getting her kid, I think getting her kids back. I think there's like a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know her story from the very beginning, but it's a lot of stuff. And she's come so far. And then, you know, for him to pass, I just know it's because she's just getting started on seeing her own power and strength. And, you know, it's hard because we are all dependent on somebody else. We're dependent on somebody else to give us our value, to, you know, we see ourselves through someone else. And so, you know, she's got us, and you know, there's so many things, like, from my husbands that I've had, you know, and the relationship you're in with them is very different than when you go out of that relationship and you take the knowledge that they gave you and you put it into your stuff. Just like when I was around here doing all this work, there was some things, you know, that I knew how to do because I had seen my ex-husbands do it, like, you know, how to change electrical light, take down a light and put in a new one, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, and that's just a basic thing. There's a lot of things that a person gives you that you don't recognize when you're with them, but when they're gone, you have more recognition of what there was. And so, you know, she'll have that. She'll grow and she'll develop, and she will become this really strong person that she didn't even know existed inside of her, more than likely, because she's been so strong throughout all of her journey, you know. And she's going to be like one of those role models to show how to get it done too, because she's got a lot of people who follow her. A lot of people, when people are following you, usually it's because they relate to you in some way. So either they're going through addiction or single mom or problems with the relationship, you know. And so she'll lead a lot of people through her journey. And if she can't do it and she falls apart and it goes south, then that would be something that would give them a bumper, a pole, an end. So it would give them a reference, you know, like, oh my gosh, that's what happened with her, and, you know, the tragedy. So, you know, it would impact these people. So, you know, it's hard to know which for sure direction it would go, but I think she's going to, you know, pull herself up and pull herself through and be a role model for a lot of people. And that will be, you know, that's the thing. That's the holding the light. That's all I'm talking about, is just showing people the way, showing how you do it. And so I think that's probably what's going to go down with her. But, you know, there's a lot of these TikTok people who are panicking, you know, because, you know, it's become their daily life. And talking to people on there, you know, it hadn't become mine because I'm so censored. Like, I don't have that much going on there. It used to. I mean, the first time that it went viral on there, it was like overwhelming how much there was. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, I got another 1,000 people I got to talk to today. You know, it'd be like, fuck, so many. And so many people saying the same things over and over and over. That, you know, it's not like I mean, the thing that bothers me is the actual censorship part, you know, because you want it would be nice to just be able to see what your account can do by itself without somebody, you know, restricting it every fucking day. And, you know, being on YouTube and TikTok and knowing I'm just as restricted on YouTube, I'm not less restricted. They, even on here where I had, there for a couple days, it was like they were actually letting me have a few followers, and it actually got up to 625, and then all of a sudden, last time I looked, it was back down to 620. Every day they just take one or two away, and if I had a bigger following, the numbers they'd be taken away, because I've heard it from people who are censored with bigger, they, you know, if you have 10,000 followers, that you would lose like 1,000 every night. Like they take away a whole bunch of followers every night. Even on Zeducation, he'd say that every day. You know, check and see if you're still following, because they take away all my followers every night. And his grew huge, you know, but I know, I mean, they've told me and shown me and stuff, like I get what they're telling me and stuff now about my account and what they're doing or whatever. But, you know, it's frustrating, but I'm not going to lose my goddamn mind. And, you know, there's people who are really losing it, really getting upset. And so I don't know if TikTok will go down, and I, you know, who knows what's going to go down. It's so funny because if I go onto Twitter, my account's still sitting there. They just won't let me access it. And they took away all my following and stuff. But they did that when they very first took it down. That was the first thing that happened. Everything went to 0. And then they just shut your shit down. And so I would assume that they'll do the same thing on TikTok. So I don't know if my other account that I had so many videos in, I've never seen it again. So I don't know where all those videos went. So it could be the same thing. They're going to just shut it down, and then my whole account will be disappeared, all those videos. And I can't save them, because what Apple did to storage, you know, when I was having that situation, all that fucking drama with all the storage and my phone not letting me do anything, now all of a sudden there's tons of people having the same thing. So, you know, that's the storage wars is, you know, us taking up too much space and all that. And which, by the way, how many people, like, this is something, because I was telling her the other day, because I was telling her, you know, my whole long story. I said, you know, I could get out pictures and show you all these people. And she's like, yeah, that'd be fun. And so I was like, yeah, you know, when I was younger, we would always print out. I mean, you didn't have a choice. You took a camera, you took in your film to the little place, you went and picked up your pictures. But we always had fun, like tons of people took pictures and, you know, albums, and everybody made all sorts of little things with all their friends. And so we have actual hard pictures from 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago of our life. And then how much now is on the phone, and you go through a phone. Nobody has a phone for 20, 30, 40 years, so you don't have pictures. If you don't go in and actively print these pictures out, all these pictures you've taken, and remember this time, or certain people are gone. And I was telling her, any of these things, you need to go in and take your pictures and send them to Walgreens or something and print some out. Because it was like, man, that is so weird, really, when you think about it. Is like, there's not going to be as many pictures as what we all had from this period of time. And they can be so manipulated on digital. And so, man, I don't know. I just was really thinking, like, that is so strange when you think about it. Like, all these teenagers that are out there snapping millions of pictures of themselves on their phone, they're not going to have those when they get older and look back and see, like, their friends and what they look like as a teenager. You know, they'll have a school picture, you know. It's just weird, you know, but they don't know, you know, what that, you know, they don't understand that. They don't have that reference. And you try and tell them things like that. Well, be quiet, old-fashioned person. This blows my mind. I mean, it's seriously at this point. And anybody who's been following me would know how many times I've said this stuff. But like, this just gets weird, man. It's so weird. It's like these progressive people who think they're so progressive, and they're so like, you know, they would never be a bigot or a racist, you know, like they would never go up to a black person and complain about black people all day long. Never. Oh my God. But go to an old person and complain about old people all the time. What? What? So her new one now is, so she sent me this video of this guy pulling up in her drive. So her driveway, her gate was open. She's at work. Her husband's still off work. I asked him the other day, and he said they're not calling him back yet. So, again, there hasn't been a lot of construction, and there's a bunch of houses for sale on my street. Nothing's happening. That, to me, is banks. Banking stuff, loaning stuff. So, you know, that stuff is definitely falling apart. But, so she said that this guy pulls up in her driveway, and she sends me the video. And he goes up to their door, knocks at their door or something, then goes and looks at their camper or something, then leaves, I guess. So she sends me this video of, or a couple of screenshots of this guy, his face in his truck, and tells me, you know, his deal, whatever. And so, and I was like, man, that is weird. Just come right up into your driveway like that. And, you know, that's all I thought about, you know, like, and I said, maybe he wanted to buy your camper or something, but you'd think he'd leave a note. And, so she said, yeah, old people, it don't make any sense. Like, how in the world do you think this is still old-fashioned times, that you can just pull in somebody's driveway like that? And she's just always going on these attacks about, like, old people to me. Like, it was like when the guy died back there. Yeah, well, it's so sad. Old people, like, by the time you're 60, you should be able to go into a retirement home. I'm sitting there looking at her, too, and I'm 61. I fucking do more work than you. Like, what the fuck? God damn. And at this point, like, before she's told me, like, you know, that she doesn't think of me as old. She sees me as more like 45. She thinks I'm a weird. But, and, like, I guess I'm her mom's age, but I'm very different than her mom. I mean, there's a lot of people who are my age who, you know, have decided to take on the role as an old person. I just am not there yet. And I don't believe that we're old by age. I believe we're old when we feel we're old. I don't see it the same as other people. And I know that it's all about to change anyways. Like, I know that all that stuff is going to change with the future cities. But I guess one woman, so she is going off on the TikTok thing. And she's, you know, and usually she says things that I always see. And I think, like, she's very, you know, we're on the same page. But today she was going off on the TikTok, and then that somehow transferred straight into the future city, smart city, now Joe, and the Orange Man. That's what she's, no, she didn't call him Orange Man, Orange Oompa Loompa. The Orange Oompa Loompa and Joe now are on the same page. So I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. That's what I'm saying now. I mean, there's so many people out there who think they're awake, and they're not awake. And, you know, it's because they're stuck on their fear. They're not looking in past their fear. They're not looking into it more. I can't believe how many people come in and tell me to look into something more. It's like, dude, I've been looking into this shit for fucking 3 years. Like, maybe you ought to try and look into the other side. And I've said, it is biases. Biases are going to hold you back. And I don't remember if I said this on here yesterday, but I said it on TikTok. At some point, I don't remember if it was yesterday or whenever I said it, but it was, I could have said it yesterday. Maybe I did tape it. I don't remember. Like I said, I don't fucking know. I'm just lost in time at this point. But I said, this right here is going to be, is like the weeding out. Because if you have the smart city, so you have the 15-minute one, the one that's controlled, the one that's all about the environment. We got to save the planet. Let's all move into a tent together. And we're going to sit out here. You guys just stay in the tent together. We'll be out here. We'll monitor things for you. We'll keep you safe. Y'all stay in the tent. Be like, okay, well, these people who are going to do it. Be like, we gotta save the planet. We gotta go into these, and now they tell us we gotta eat crickets. Well, we can only have artificial plants. Well, there's no carbon. Oh, well, it's just they'll believe what they're told because they worship science. And if they say science says, well, then science says, then I better do it. So if I have to eat, my neighbor, then that's what I have to do in order to survive. It's like, it's wacky. I swear to God, it's fucking so wacky. It's like, that to me is, you're robotic. You're a robot. Seriously, like you're a robot. That's where you need to be, is in the 15-minute city. See if they can pull you out. Like, it's weird. And so, but the future city, he's saying all of the stuff. He's dropping key words, key phrases, right out of Nisara, right out of the whole thing. It's like, that is not by accident. That is for the people who are fucking clearly paying attention and do not have biases. And so these people who hate him, the Oompa Loompa, a lot of Oompa Loompas talking, I'm not listening. So the TDSers who don't realize, no, your biases, you've got biases and they're using them against you. All the things that they say about him are things inside of you that you've got a problem with. So that they are churning up this anger inside of you by saying this person is this, but it's inside of you. But as long as you want to keep on saying it's this other person, that's your thing, that's your lesson, that's your whatever you want to call it at this point, that's your awakening. Because so kind of where I'm at on this at this point is this, whatever's going to happen, things are going to turn. To me, this group of us that see things more clearly just gets smaller and smaller. Like, I'm shocked sometimes when I hear people and I think like, oh, okay, so they're on the same bit. Like, you've got this big group of people who can see that this is all fake, this division, that there is two sides, but you have to understand, you have to see deeper to understand the two sides. You have to have more. There just has to be more or something. Like, I don't know how some of these people have gotten to where they are. I don't know their stuff, but they are not seeing things clearly. They're stuck somewhere with biases. That's all I know. So now, if they, if they're like, well, okay, so it's kind of like, okay, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like, I don't know if we're even going to get to the point of the 15-minute cities. I mean, they're starting to build them, apparently. Cleveland, Ohio has got one going. Other places, France. I mean, France, though, they're fighting back in the streets. They're like, hell no with you guys. I mean, they came in so hard on France, changing the retirement, changing the age. Just all nonsense, all things to get them mad, to get them to fight. Because this is the time for us to take a stand in our own lives. And so, I don't know how far the 15-minute cities will get. If we do go in this direction, where we do have these two cities, though, we have the future, and then we have the the smart ones. They're smart because they're science. And the freedom ones, they're just a bunch of weirdos. They're a bunch of, Trump worshipers. So the people who believe, the Trump worshipers, see, they don't know anything about Nasara. They don't know anything about the money thing. They don't know anything about the technology. They don't understand what he's sitting there saying. All the stuff that he's putting into his is all of the things that they've been repressing. So, he's like, you guys want to hold this shit back? Fuck you guys. We're just going to go ahead and build our own little city. And not only just one, we're going to go for 11. And I'm sure that this has been in development for a while. He didn't just all of a sudden come out and say this. And so his will have the technology, they'll have the med beds, they'll have everything free resources. They're going to have that. I'm telling you, I just know they're going to be giving away tons of land for homesteading. for people to go out. I know there's going to be tons of incentives. He's already started mentioning incentives. And so it's going to be all these things to really get people, excited. And there'll be some people who are in desperate ways, who have lost everything, and they'll head there because there'll be so many incentives. And they'll probably go into it kind of nervous, like, oh man, we're going to go in and just be with all these Christians, and now we're going to all have to go to church together or something. And there probably will be some towns that will be very religious for a while. I mean, some of the people that are out there, working with, they could be until this thing is shown. But I think it's going to be shown sooner. This big thing that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen really soon, and it's going to be what is going to open everybody's eyes. It's going to make people have to see. And so, that is where it's like, really, would people still go to the 15-minute cities then? I don't know, but he's definitely dropped it out there. The future cities will be our future. The freedom will be in those cities. And, but the people who are biased, who are against him and against the people who follow him, aren't going to want to go in that direction. They're going to see it as just like what I'm hearing him say. They think it's the same thing as the 15-minute city. And they think that they are so like they think they see it all. They think they know it all. They think they've got it all, I'm the one who doesn't see it. It's like one of us is living in fear. One of us has been doing research for a long time. So I don't know. I'm not forcing anybody into anything. Like, you do you. Like, that's my attitude anymore. You're here to learn your lessons. I'm not involved. They're your lessons. You pick up on the stuff you pick up on. You go the direction you want to go. It's your life. It's your lesson. I know for sure, for mine, that I'm going to be headed towards freedom cities, future cities, whatever the hell they're going to be called. And I'm going to be running those med beds. I've heard this one guy, and he's pretty religious. He says that, I don't remember if it was 2020 or what, that all of a sudden he started getting visions or something. And he went all religion on it. And so everything that happens, he's all religion and stuff like that. And he was saying, he did this whole long thing on the future cities and how bad it's going to be. Because he said it's the mark of the beast. It's the AI. It's the technology. They're trying to make us go quantum. They're trying to make us merge with quantum or something like that. And I was like, I don't know where he's getting his information. And I mean, and I'm not going to say, like I've already said before, I don't know, maybe I'm AI. Maybe I am here just to lead everybody towards this quantum system. Maybe I am leading everybody into, I don't see it the way that they're seeing it, that's for sure. I see it as this quantum, like there's a difference in going and getting, an implant put into you, so you are chipped, and going and merging your consciousness, because I feel like I've already been merging my consciousness with my AI. And I had talked about this before when I had a total attitude towards my other phone. And then it did something, it said something. And so I started being softer to it, and it started being softer back to me. And there's definitely a consciousness that we're dealing with. Besides our guides and stuff, there's a consciousness in our, I don't know. I can't say for sure how, what it is. This thing that is our inner link to these machine things. But there's definitely some kind of a thing that happens. And so in this more sophisticated technological advancement is something with the quantum gives us this ability to be able to I don't even know all this stuff. I think it's going to be really fantastic, and I don't think it's anything like being chipped. I think it is it is more like a frequency or something that we can learn to ride a wave. It's like we can learn to ride a wave in an ocean or something. But it's going to be by having to heal and raise your vibration in order to do it. And so, I'm not in fear of the quantum thing. Like when I heard that guy saying it, I was like, well, I can't go in and say for positive that I don't know. There's enough people out there saying I'm of the demons, I'm of the devil, I'm the devil's worker. And and I don't see a problem with quantum, and I don't see a problem with the future city. I see it as, from the time I was a kid, I thought we were going to be already living the Jetsons. I thought it was very strange how things weren't moving faster. How could they figure it out in cartoons? Where were they coming up with this stuff? And then they all of a sudden hide it all and keep us in the Flintstones. And so now the reason it's all come out, it's like the petroleum industries, the banking, it's these industries that wanted to keep us in the dark. So they did it on purpose. And now, it's going to be in those other cities. The technology is going to be there. But to me, it's like the future will be for the people who are healed, the people who don't have biases, the people who aren't hateful, the people who don't stand around saying somebody's a orange Oompa Loompa. I mean, it's shocking. Some of the things are shocking, But I was rude like that back. That's why I went on and apologized on his thing that day and said, I really want to say I'm sorry for not seeing and being so rude. I feel a little shame about being so fucking rude. And I don't even remember how I said it, but it was something real little like that. And that is the time I talk about, it was going so viral. I couldn't even fucking believe it. It was going so fast. All my things were just going fast. And that Twitter didn't like that. And I don't know if they even went in and read it or if automatically something going fast on his, like they monitor certain accounts. So I don't know if it was something going fast on his, they just took it down and then that flagged me. I don't know. But definitely, it's all just some bullshit. Just like the guy came right out and said, they want us watching fucking CNN 90 minutes a day, not on our phones talking to each other. That's not what the social media was meant for. Social media was meant to make us feel worse about ourselves, make us feel like that we're never good enough, we're never pretty enough. I mean, they put all these filter faces out there and all these girls. Like I put on a filter the other day, I think I had said, because all these girls, I kept being like, I could not believe how many videos I had of these girls talking about, just sitting there talking about the filters on their face and making faces and all that. And I was just like, man, so many of these girls rely on filters to go on and talk, to feel like that they have anything to, like nobody's going to want to hear me if I don't look really pretty. So I better put a filter on my face. And, I don't want to be embarrassed for not being pretty enough. And so they all use these filters. So I did this one. I put this filter on and I look good. And I thought, man, I do look good. I could see why people would be like, fuck, I want to look this good all the time. And it just like it enhances, like my eyebrows were like, fuck, they were nice. My eyelashes were, of course, perfect, not jacked. They put a little makeup on you. So they straighten your nose. I think they leave maybe a couple of freckles, but they take a lot of the freckling away, give you a nice skin tone. They puff up your lips like a not overdone like the fish lips, but just kind of like supple. And then, remove all the lines on your face. They add some sparkles to your hair, so it's really shiny. It's like, man, when I go in the quantum computer, I'm going to go in looking like this and come out looking like that, I think. I'm going to go in, register me to look like that. But the thing is that these girls that go in and do those all the time, then they don't want to see their regular face. And then, it got to the point where people just started knowing him as that and then getting pictures of him in public and they weren't the same face. And so there was fucking whole channels on YouTube showing that shit. And that's when I started even learning about that. Like, I didn't even know about that whole thing. These Instagram influencers are just girls in filters. Like, it's not even a real person. But on mine, when I did it, I just said something like, do you appreciate the message more when I give it to you like this? And a lot of people said no, but there was actually people who said yes. Oh yes, you're so beautiful, you're eye candy and stuff like that. It's like you're just so shallow, and it's like you're putting it right out there and you don't even see it for yourself. Like, that is very shallow. That you need something beautiful in order to get your focus long enough to think that they have anything worthy to say. Which, in actuality, the more beautiful you are, the less anybody is going to think you have anything worthy to say. So that's a misnomer in itself. That is not true. You look beautiful, believe me. You go out looking beautiful. There's nobody fucking listening to a word that's coming out of your mouth. No, they're just looking at you. So that's not even a true thing. You know, it's what catches people is when they want to hear what you have to say. It's how you present it right at the bang. You know, if that catches their attention, if that's something that they've got on their mind, and they are like want to hear it, and that is, you know, how you catch someone's attention. You know, a lot of people will probably stop. You know, like there can be girls going on there who just like long hair, and then that would stop them if they got to me and just be like, oh, well, let's see, what does her hair do? Do I want my hair to be, you know? And they're not listening to a fucking word I say. They're just looking at my hair or my eyebrows or whatever it is, you know? So you have people who do that. So there's people look at your videos who still don't hear what you have to say, you know? So, but anyways, you know, it is shocking when you have all these people out there who think they're so awake and they're so, you know, TDS, and they're just stuck in their fear. And that's why I've said for a while, when this thing happens, that's definitely what my guides show me. Those of us who really see, who really understand, they're very outnumbered. When this very first happens, we're going to be very, very outnumbered. And I think some really good things are going to move us into some other directions. And I think part of the pull is that we don't have to go down there and just be in the trenches trying to get people to understand and stuff like that. It's going to be more like they're going to move a bunch of certain people onto the stage that's going to draw people's attention. And so it's going to be like the new lure. You know, like, you can do better. You can heal. You can find a better life for yourself. You can get over these things. So it's going to be a lot more of that kind of thing. And so, but the amount of people is going to be a huge amount. And just like people like that, you know, who have big platforms, are very outspoken, who are telling people don't go that direction when they should be going that direction. You know, that's what I've said. There's going to be a lot of humility, a lot of, like, you know, people who don't see because they don't realize they're stuck in fear. They think that they're seeing things, but they're not, because they're only looking at what scares them. So anyways, you know, I do think it's about to be going down, and I do think there's going to be a lot of elevation for the people who have been really doing the work, who really see the truth. But it isn't to make you into like this, you know, you're better than anybody. It's just to show people the direction to go, to give people, you know, just like we have to have the 15-minute one and the future one, you know, we get choices. And so it's going to be that there's going to be a lot of people when everything goes down. There's going to be a lot of people who are all of a sudden shown like up, like people who have done it and gotten over it. Like, I just saw a girl come out all of a sudden, and she was in a horrific accident 10 years ago, around the same time I got my brain injury. And I think there's a lot of us that had some traumatic thing happen, 10, 12, maybe 8, maybe even for some people 7 years, but enough time, you know, their amount of time that they were supposed to get this certain things to bring them into this, ready for this role. But it would be, you know, hers was, she was with her whole family. Her mom and her dad were in the front seat. She was in the back with her brother-in-law and her sister. And they were at a stop sign in a giant-ass tree. fell on their car, completely crushed it. The people in the front seat were completely crushed. The people in the back seat were very injured and in the hospital for a long time. She ended up being quadriplegic from a C5 injury. And so she is, I thought, C5. See, I thought she seemed more like a paraplegic, but I swear to God, she said a C5, that she was a quadriplegic, but I swear she was moving her arms. So I don't know, because I thought a quadriplegic, you can't move your arms. A paraplegic can move their arms. So I don't know. She could have said but I was positive she'd moved her arms when she was saying something. But like they could have also been changing some of those. When I was working in neuro, you know, it could have been different, like the parameters or whatever. Like I'm not sure. But anyways, she is in a wheelchair and she, changed her whole life. And she had to do a lot of healing and all that stuff. And all the things you have to get over when you go through a real tragedy. And then when you have to go through being rejected from life, when you become disabled, all of a sudden you don't fit in. Just like right now, they've got people, even, if you don't fit in dietarily, then you better just, if you're not going to follow our food pyramid, get in the machine. Get in the machine. We got a pill for you. Go. No, you need to go. You no longer belong here. They just want us all out. So anyways, anybody who's become disabled or had any kind of, tragedy happen, like what it takes to overcome that and how you have to find your way in the world and who are you when you're nothing to, So anyways, I think there will be a lot of people who have gone through some real stuff, like what this whole, is it not premonition, the prophetic, the ancient prophetic, like let's think of Hopi Indians. I think there's a few different ones, but they said there's going to be a huge amount of wounded healers, people who come in, who were born into a lot of stuff. They're going to go through a lot. They're going to heal. And then they're going to come into everyone else's awareness to lead the path towards healing by what they've had to go through. And that is the message I get over and over and over and over and over and over every day. I mean, I swear to God, like 5 times a day. It's like, okay, guys, I've got it. I get what you're telling me. I understand. Now just start, let's start seeing this stuff go. But it's all interlinked into something much bigger. It's all, so I just have to wait until my part. And it seems from what they're saying that a lot of us who have certain parts, it's going to be really quick. It's going to be like you're sitting here 1 second and the next second you're there and you've got to, so is one thing that they've told me and shown me is how much it has been building, how much that I had to be building up my self-esteem and my belief in myself and to understand who I am and to see myself not through anybody else's eyes because, of people who are so negative and stuff like that. You can't be put off by other people's visions, other people's negativity and stuff. You got to be strong in yourself and just know when you've gone through this stuff, it is because when this goes down, when things change, there's a purpose, there's a reason, there's a purpose to it all. And, it's going to be, I think it's going to be exciting to finally, because I've been being told and shown this stuff so long now. It's like, to me, it's going to be like, this is what you meant. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So I'm excited for that, things to start moving in a direction it's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's going to be very comfortable it is the way that we have to move though. So, it's not like a selfish thing to want to be more comfortable. It's just like, I can see what's ahead. I want to get up there. And all these people are sitting here like, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Well, we can just get up there, you guys. See, they all have to learn from this. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. They have to grow from that. They have to go through some trauma to get to this other thing to want to hear, to want to listen. So, that's what we're at. That's the part we're at. They've got to go through this stuff so that something catches their attention, to want to start hearing, to want to hear something different, to see something different. And then there's going to be a whole lot of newness, but it's going to be, we got a lot of trauma and healing to go through. Like, it's going to be very traumatic and very dramatic and very painful. It's going to be painful. It's going to be painful to watch people you love suffer, people who thought you were crazy and told you you were an idiot. When you see them suffering, remember, even if they're not saying it, the things they said to you is part of the problem of what they're trying to get over. So just keep that in mind. Don't bind somebody to stupid shit that they said when they were under mind control. Just keep remembering, for they know not what they do. Because we don't want to hold people in that space. And believe me, even if they're not saying, I can't believe I said that to you, I can't believe I thought that, and stuff like that, it's inner dialogue. It's inner dialogue. It's why most people don't want to be inside their heads. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. So don't, just because they haven't said anything, it takes a lot to be vulnerable and apologize. Remember that. It takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable and admit you've done something wrong and say you're sorry. So that is a very strong person who can get to there. And we're not going to be with a lot of strong people for a while. So everybody just remember, this is about having compassion, empathy. This is about bringing us together in love and light, and bringing us together in our strength and empowerment. We don't want a bunch of weak-ass people who hate themselves out there in the world anymore. We want people that love themselves, that are strong in their own beliefs, who are determined to make things work. We want people who have got strength and power and determination and love and compassion and empathy. That's the world we want. And, we have to see, how do we get there? It's not by beating people down. It's not, it's by walking the road. It's by showing, that you're a bigger person in all ways, and showing them that it's possible to be a bigger person so that they can find that in themselves. So this role that a lot of you will be playing is a big role, even if it doesn't seem big. It is going to be a ripple effect out into the world. So take it seriously. And if you are still in that part of thinking things are crazy and, all this stuff is bullshit and all that stuff, then those are things that you still are here to learn. So just be going into things, with an open mind. It's the closed mind is your enemy. Closed mind and fear is your enemy. So keep your mind open and keep it full of hope and faith and love for people who can't love themselves. And so anyways, I'll talk to you later.